All right, guys, we are live, episode 95 of the Shooter's Mindset. Thanks for joining us. We got a star-studded co-host panel and guest this evening, and that's Jennifer Seymour's in the house. What's going on?
Hey, guys. Having a good week. Hump day.
Yeah, hump day as usual. Dustin, what's going on?
Staying busy today. Running around like crazy.
Yeah, you told us the story before that. I
Good
don't know if you
time.
want to reshare that, but yeah.
I think I was going to have a post on it. So.
Yeah, well, follow Dustin on social media and you'll figure out what the big deal is. The guests everybody's here to see today, and please get your live questions in for them, and that's JJ Racaza is in the house. What's going on, JJ?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. What took you so long to get you on the episode? We are 95 episodes in. We made, this is competition-based show. We cannot have cannot have the show without JJ on it. It can't happen. So we got you on here to finally put it together. Obviously, schedules get in the way and stuff, but we finally got JJ, so it's great. So please be sure the Q&A section. There's on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page. There's a post that already went up. If you prefer to use Facebook to get your live questions for JJ in, you can do so over there. Also, in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen that you're looking at, you should see Join the Conversation. So you click that, you can access also Q&A sections right through YouTube and Google Plus and all that stuff. So be sure to get them in. Let's see here. Show sponsors. We got Fort Mill Munitions. I brought out a box. Here it is. Still got some defense rounds in it. So Fort Mill Munitions, that's teamfmm.com if you're looking for ammunition, 9, 380, 40, 45. They're getting into rifle ammo here shortly. Go check them out. Also, Blade Tech Industries for your holster needs, your AR accessories. Go check out bladetechindustries.com. And Brett Russo is a big supporter of the show. Thanks for supporting us since day one. All right. Let's start it off. For people who are unfamiliar with you, JJ, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your path to getting into competitive shooting.
Basically, I'm IPSC USPSA shooter. Started in the U.S. I started when it was 1999. Started in limited iron sights division, and then I met the well-renowned Limcat Customs and Johnny Lim, and then from there switched to open and kind of carried that and used that for up until 2011, and I guess we can get into that story later on. And switched to production 2011, and now I'm here. Also ended up in Top Shot at one point, season 1. I guess that's it. Pretty simple.
You started
regular guy.
You started shooting when you were what, like 8 or 12 years old, somewhere in that range?
Yeah, I started shooting when I was 8. My dad got me into the firearms thing. Basically, it was a necessity. As the Philippines, he was a doctor. Yeah, he was always on call for surgery and stuff like that, and I was the guy in the house with 2 other sisters that he kind of felt like I could be responsible or big enough to hold a gun. And so he took me out one time and he's like, hey, shoot this 45, see if you can handle it and hit the target. And he's like, yeah, I need you to shoot one time. Shot like I think 25 rounds, and he was like, go dry fire for the rest of the time for a year before we come back and shoot again.
Interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
Nice, man. I mean, man, 8 years old and you're already bossing a 45.
It's really weird, the story. It's like by the time I was 10 years old, I was carrying a 45. It's just there was reasons behind it. It was tactics that my dad employed for it. They said that if we got pulled over or kidnapped or whatsoever, they would go for him, not me. They would never expect me. By the time I was 10 years old, I believe I was already a B class or A class shooter in IPSC. So he was like, yeah, he had full faith in me and confidence in me.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
Yeah, pretty fair to say if you're a B-class shooter, you should be fairly confident with your pistol at that point, right?
At 10 years old, it's a little different, though. Now that I'm an adult and I'm a father and I have my own kids, I look at them and I'm like, are they going to be ready by the time I was ready?
Yeah.
What class are you, kid?
Yeah. Very well done. I mean, we had here he is. We have a question that came in here from Kim here. Sorry, the first name's a little bit tough for me, and I don't want to butcher it, but last name's Kim. He said, how do you approach a first stage of a match different than other stages in the match? How about the last stage? do you start speeding things up as you shoot more stages throughout the day? So kind of a three-part question there.
Okay. I'll answer just this first question. Basically, every first stage of a match, no matter what it is, a long time ago used to be a different approach, right? First stage of the match, I used to try to take a lot back. If I could put a percentage on it, I used to try to shoot it around 70, 80%. If you could kind of, it's just an arbitrary number I'm throwing out there. But nowadays, and then I guess as I go through the match, as I get more comfortable, I start kind of going into the zone and falling in my rhythm. But nowadays, it's kind of changed a little bit to the point where I guess with production, maybe that's may have changed my game, or maybe maturity kind of came with it. It kind of just stays the same way. I just attack it the way I normally would attack any other stage. Um, I don't really go full bore anymore on any of my stages. Neither you're not allowed to in production. You kind of need your points. So I kind of just go to what I do in practice, and I've actually changed my practice recently to kind of reflect that. So I don't have like a slower start then a better ending. It's kind of just right off the bat, I'm going to be the same way as I would start the match as I would end as at the end of the match. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense because obviously you're in a totally different division. We talked open, we talked production, so you can't be hosing with iron sights in production. You need your alpha hits and stuff like that. So that makes sense to bring it down a percent. Even though when we watch you shoot a production gun, it's like, really, you can go faster than that, JJ? You know what I mean? It's like, and people always ask me, we're going to get into this efficiency of motion, which also Kim, he sent me a question earlier today regarding this. So we're going to kind of hit it a little bit here. He says he did notice you're very explosive and efficient in competition shooting, and that's what. I'm not no pro or but at least some of the marksman guys in IDPA and stuff they'll ask me for advice here and there, and I'll give it to them. They'll send me the video and stuff, and I see they're very accurate shooters, but I always look at their movement and I'm like, you're not really too explosive on your movement. You're taking extra steps to get to your position that you don't need to. And they kind of look at me, well, like, how do I improve that? And that's where I kind of get stumped in this question, like, I'm pretty good at my movement, I believe, and then I think it's more of a mind thing for myself, beating myself almost. But how do you tell somebody that they need to improve their movement? So how do they work on improving their movement almost?
Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of a thing that I could thank my parents for. They put me in a lot of athletics when I was a kid, a lot of martial arts and stuff like that. So I kind of developed that from a younger kid and standpoint that I developed that hand-eye and I guess leg-to-eye coordination or whatever, and my footwork kind of flows. And but really a long time ago, I decided that since I wasn't going to be able to shoot as much as Max, Eric, and some of these guys that were in the AMU at the time, I figured that I had to find a different part of my game to improve as much as I can. So what I did was during 5 days of the week, I couldn't shoot because I had a full-time job. So what I could do is work out for at least an hour or 2 hours, maybe once or twice a day. So I really hit hard on some footwork drills, some foot movements. I got into some not really MMA, I would say more into like boxing and footwork, and that really kind of tied into my shooting. And what I realized was fitness started to play a really big role in my shooting because I found that I could move a little bit more efficiently, but I just don't shoot as fast as everyone. But I was able to compete with their times and their hits, even though I wasn't shooting even half of what they were shooting. Does that make sense? Like at that time, from 2001 or actually even 2000 to all the way to like 2011, I may have been only able to practice once a week, about 500 rounds a week, while everyone else was practicing way more than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you would, you're saying you won't shoot as fast as them, but your movement will be quicker than them almost.
Yes.
So so exploding to position, or moving around a corner like the IDPA stuff that me and Dustin does a lot. Like you'll see people take like baby steps to see this target over here, when really if you would have just put your foot down here, you could have just moved your knees and you could have moved over there and saw it. So stuff like that. How are you feeling about movement, Jennifer? You feel your movement's pretty solid or something you need to work on?
Oh, definitely something I need to work on. I do think it's improved from a year ago when I started. I think that it has improved possibly more than my shooting, just like JJ was saying. my times coming down has been, I think, more transitions and, getting a little bit more bold with moving. But I definitely think I need to work on it still.
Yeah, Dustin, you feeling pretty good? Dustin, you pretty good though, as far as from what I've seen on video.
Dustin, shoot.
Yeah, I'm fast, and then that's when I slap the trigger. So that was my first shooting coaches started out shooting. They're like, dude, you're fast. Trust me, you can beat me on a foot race from point A to point B. But you get there, and then you're like, oh shit, I got to shoot guns and stuff. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it was slowing down and getting into a position, and then to get out of that position is what I definitely always have to tell myself and slow down and actually do the fundamentals. And yeah, you can tell the difference between a pro level shooter or the top let's say three classifications of shooters versus the bottom three classifications of shooters. The top shooters can pull some shots, but yet their speed and accuracy just dwarfs those of the bottom level shooters. And yeah, I mean your movement is definitely key, just like your reloads and just like your draw. It's all the small things that add up together.
There you go. Yeah, I can agree with that, man. It's when we I definitely need to work on some things, and we're going to get into a question here because you've been known to change your fire. I mean, at least I've seen you shoot a variety of different pistols throughout your career until what you're shooting now, which is the stock 2. And it kind of hits to a question because I've been shooting a Glock for like 4 or 5 years now, and I just picked up what they call a Grand Power, which is an X-Trim Grand Power K100 for what I do, and it's a double action, single action firearm, not a striker gun, and it obviously has a hammer, and it's just an all around. The controls are different from a Glock. It's a lot different. It feels different. Recoil is different. So how do you does changing gears and pistols, does that kind of help the growth of a shooter, or does it just do the opposite?
I believe it helps in terms of growth and overall knowledge and experience as a shooter, because I can tell you my path. Basically, I went from a open gun for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden I switched gears, and I transitioned to a striker fire gun, which is the complete opposite, a bone stock striker fire gun. And then I go from there, and then where I ended up now, which is basically a production race gun. And every step of the way, I have picked up skills and developed and been able to see what I need to look for in terms of a gun and what I need. And that helps me in terms of teaching classes too with my students. And like, hey, this is what you're seeing. This is what you're noticing. I went through that just a few years ago, and here it is. And sometimes it kind of helps you connect with them. So I believe it just helps in terms of growth and your overall skill altogether. I believe you're not just kind of this one-sided shooter.
Would you say going from an open class to like a production class would be better, or going from production to open? Like, what would be the easier transition?
Easier transition, I believe, it probably better. It's kind of subjective, right? It's totally. It's totally up to you. So going whether you're iron sight shooter or open to iron sight, it may be easier for one or the other. It's not really one answer for that, but I believe that going to build your foundation as a marksman, I believe going from iron sights to building your skill set with a stock gun and then enhancing it with an open gun, a fully tricked out gun, will make you a better shooter in the long run, as opposed to starting out with the open gun where it limits you right to that single point of reference versus 3 points of reference with the front sight, and then going back down to a 3 point of reference, and then all of a sudden going from target focus to sight focus. It's a very hard transition if you've never seen it before. All of a sudden everything's blurry. You have to pick which target is the right one. I'm seeing 3 targets, pick the one in the middle, stuff like that, and you can skip all that nonsense. So I believe, to me, to build that marksmanship to a more solid foundation is to start out with iron sights and a stock gun.
Well, I have a question from Mike Bell. He wants to know if you still shoot any of your Glocks.
I do. I mean, I have one Glock. He may be mistaking me for Casey, who shot for a Glock, but what do you call that? I'm just a little taller than Casey. That's the difference. He's a lot faster than I am, and a lot younger. But I do have one Glock, and I used to shoot it. I actually shot for a Caracal, which is kind of, apparently, when they were marketing it, it was supposed to be everything a Glock was or could have been, and it kind of fell for that and went for that gun for a little bit.
Oh, there you
Yeah, that didn't end too well though.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I always wanted to get my hand on one of those. I just never found them around, I just can never find one in the store. I saw a couple, and then there was a couple recalls, I think, and then I just never seen them again, and then I was just like, oh, okay, well, that does it. So
I know
there
a
you
few
go.
people that come in my range with the Canik, which is like, I think it's kind of the same. It's a Turkish gun. It
Oh,
looks to be like a clone
Yeah.
of one, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's definitely an interesting creature, I guess, if you want to politely say this thing.
I think it's like
'Cause it's,
350 with a good trigger, supposedly. That's what they say. I never.
Yeah, I don't know.
Budget gun with a good trigger. So interesting topic on the Caracal and stuff like that. Like that's I fell for that marketing. I was like, man, it's supposed to be better than a Glock. It's everything a Glock is, and you know what I mean. I'm like, I gotta have one of those, but I can.
Well,
never
remember
find
the Strike One craziness, like the Strike One, the Russians. Like this is going to be the Glock killer, and you're like, oh, where's that at?
They're,
Well, you
they're
can't-
finally just hitting the U.S. market, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I've fired one, and I was really impressed with the reset. The problem with some of those striker fire for me is that it comes out of the store pretty decent, but the reset is just a little too far. So in terms of shooting and speed, you can't have the same split as you could with a single or double single action gun, because the reset on every single one of your shots is just a little further than a single action gun would be.
Mm-hmm.
But the striker fire, the new striker one, it looks like, and it seems like it's only about a 1/4 inch reset or something like that coming from the factory.
I haven't. I definitely wanted to get my hands on one. There is an importer, I believe he's in Utah somewhere. That's majority of people are getting them from. So if you guys are interested, I'm pretty sure you can find them. Seems to be a lot more videos popping up on those guns recently. Okay, so the importance of dry fire and physical fitness to improve your shooting ability, and let's underline physical fitness. And we talked a little bit about it earlier, how you use your physical fitness to kind of gain an advantage over someone that maybe shot faster than you. But let's put this all together here. What is your take on this?
Dry fire is definitely very, very important. It could be a hindrance depending on what you're dry firing and what your focus is. But dry fire, if you're just using it to familiarize yourself with the gun, the feel of the gun, learning how to point the gun, knowing what you need to see, and leaving it at that in terms of just weapons handling, you can definitely build your skills a lot on that. But I remember one time when I was dry firing so much, I was trying to get my first shot on a specific gun, and I kept using the par timer, but I would put a par timer at 1.1, and then 1.0, then 0.8, then 0.7, and I did that for a full week because I couldn't shoot the entire week. I just did that because I was bored, and I did probably thousands and thousands of draws with just at 0.7, 0.8. Practice that Saturday, all of a sudden it became, I wouldn't say muscle memory, it was just an automatic instinct for me to shoot my gun the minute my gun got on target. And it was great at 15, 10 yards. I was shooting it at 0.9, 0.8, hitting generally the A and C zone. But the minute my dad pushed me to about 30, 40 yards, I was still breaking about 1 second, and it was very, very hard for me to control my shooting. I couldn't control it. The minute it was there, I had to break because that's how I practiced all week. So that's when I realized, like, man, there's some detriment to dry firing a lot if you're dry firing wrong. But if you're leaving it in terms of just reloads, draws, pointing the gun, transitions, but doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, marksmanship, like meaning breaking the shot and trigger correctly, that you're going to be fine. I truly believe that dry fire is very important.
Do you have a set regiment that you go through? Like, okay, Monday I'm doing this, Tuesday I'm doing this, or is it like just every single day?
No, it's for now. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't dry fire every day anymore. But for a long time, so when I was 8 till I was 13, about 5 years, I guess, I was dry firing every day for at least 45 minutes a day because I know it was 45 minutes. Sometimes it was longer because I just got stuck on the drill. Because my dad wouldn't allow me to go out and play with the kids. it was like freaking labor camp. But I wasn't allowed to go out until I was done dry firing for at least 45 minutes. But now, since I built that kind of foundation early on, I may dry fire. It depends. If I get a new gun, I'll dry fire it for every day for a week, about 15 minutes every day. I don't dry fire as long anymore. In terms of set regiment, it's like my appetite. whatever I feel like doing that night, whatever I feel like eating that night. That's what I'm doing. I'm not gonna make it harder on me. I'm gonna want to enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah, there you go. That's a lot of good points here regarding dry fire there. So do it and do it a lot.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. What do we have? We talked about that. We wanted to hit. You guys have any live questions? I didn't. I really been
Anthony,
slacking on asking.
yeah, can I touch on something that Dustin hit on earlier?
Yeah.
To me it's kind of important, and that's why I'm bringing it back. I'm sorry. Dustin talked about shooting and movement, right? There's two separate elements, right? We move fast as much as we can, and we have to be able to control our movement, right? And he touched on that in terms of he can move fast and get to a position, and he's like, "Fudge, I got to shoot," so he shoots as fast as he could, also, right? And then he talked about, "Hey, I got to slow myself down." I actually believe that you shouldn't slow yourself down. I think you should just learn how to see a little faster than and accept what you need to see a little faster. Does that make sense? Like, you just need to learn your gun and learn how to point that gun to the right direction so you can see what you need to see in terms of a good sight picture, an acceptable sight picture on target, versus slowing yourself down. Because I think if you there's a single component that affects our shooting, right? That adds anticipation. That's speed. Whether you slow it down or speed it up, right? In terms of rate of fire. So I think if you just do everything natural, we all know what makes a good shot. So if you just do everything that you can do instead of telling yourself literally to slow down, just see what you need to see. Look for that good sight picture. Look for feel that reset and prep and a good break, and you'll find yourself with a more successful rate versus trying to slow yourself down, and then you'll end up almost adding an anticipation or some sort of anxiety to your shooting, and it's not you shooting. It's not your normal pace. So that's why I just wanted to touch on that, because I would say try that out, man. Don't slow yourself down. Just absorb or see what you need to see a little better.
Well, now I just got to take a JJ class. That's pretty much it. Everything I've known is a lie. Everything I've done is a lie. What do I even do with these? So, I like to go fast. I like to shoot fast. JJ said to go fast. I don't even know.
I don't want to go fast.
Yeah. And you hear that a lot in the local club matches. They're like, "Dude, you're going too fast," and I'm like, "Dude, I don't know how to turn it down a notch." And then when you do try to focus on turning it down a notch, it's like it feels like it's just awfully slow. I'm like, "Oh, I can't consistently turn it down a notch. I don't know." So that makes sense. Just go at your pace. That's the pace that you've set for yourself, and just learn how to see faster. So interesting.
Yeah, I think if you put your focus on the right fundamentals, you'll learn how to live in that time of skewed time of perception, right? Where everything seems slower, but everything's going so fast. So I think it's just the level of focus and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't want to get all Dalai Lama on you guys and get all into meditation, but that's basically what I'm meaning.
So pretty much JJ just blacks out right when the buzzer goes off, and then wakes up and he's like, "Oh, unload and show clear. Got it. Got it. Did I win? Did I win? I won.
Did that just happen?
Did that just happen? Oh, I got the gun. What is this?"
Yeah.
So, sometimes that happens,
Right. We have, let's hit this live one here from Joe B. Just a simple question here. Do you prefer a single double action only gun or striker gun?
In terms of what, though? USPSA or IPSC?
He didn't really preference. He just, do you prefer double single or only or striker fired guns? So one or the other type of deal.
All right, that's a hard question, right? Because it's one of those not really so gray, black and white answers. But I'm gonna give you my answer right now, my preference. I prefer a double DASA gun over a striker fire gun right now, due to the fact that I can take this gun, which is an internationally set up legal gun, and compete internationally as well as compete as high as you can in the U.S. as well, versus a striker fire gun where you can compete in the U.S. by tweaking it and putting aftermarket parts on it, but then the minute you go international, it becomes illegal, and you have to actually bump it up to a 5-pound trigger pull every single, or at least a minimum 5-pound trigger pull every single trigger pull. So I prefer my answer to that is double action, and really the best thing is this right now. You can't find it, but it's the best thing right now.
Can't find it.
So for us mere mortals, we'll just have to keep shooting our Glocks.
Yeah.
So do you think it's a good thing possibly to have the same type of firearm, maybe the same brand of firearm, in 2 or 3 different configurations to keep some of that muscle memory, some of that training and practice, sight picture, all of that. So you have one setup for in IDPA be SSP, ESP, and CCP and CDP. In USPSA or production, you have production. Maybe you'd have your limited gun, limited 10 gun. Obviously, it's just magazines. And then your open class gun, you throw an optic on it. Would you like something like that? Or would you just completely switch from one gun to another gun?
Well, I did the switching thing, and I'm done with that switching thing. So because there was a learning curve every gun I picked up, right? I'm very excited to shoot the Tanfoglio and shoot for Tanfoglio and shoot for EAA because I can go from a production, which is this gun right here, and then if I throw it in my holster, cock, and put the safety on, now I'm limited. And then if I just put on a scope and a compensator on the same platform, now I'm in the open division, right? So I'm very excited to be able to shoot one single platform, to have that same feel and that same point versus having to adjust my grip angle again, and having to relearn that gun, even though it doesn't take much to relearn a gun, maybe 1,000 rounds or something like that, but I want to avoid any kind of relearning of the gun anymore. So when I go to competition, I feel like, even though it was only a week that I switched to this different division, I feel like I should be at the top of my game versus I don't know where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that's the really rough part about switching divisions or switching classes and stuff like that, where you're like, am I doing good? Am I doing bad? I know I just picked up the CCP division, which is you have to have an under 4-inch barrel is pretty much the deal for IDPA. And the first match out, I was like, am I winning? Am I losing? Like, I don't know where I'm staying at because I'm usually SSP or ESP. And so, and then ended up the scores got posted and I was like, oh, I won. That was weird. Like I had no idea what the hell was going on the whole entire match. And it was just like, I'm just going to keep shooting guns. Hopefully this is good.
That happens to me quite more often than not until today. Even though I've been that Foglio for just under a year now, but not about 10 months straight of shooting Tanfoglio, the stock 2, I still go out to the matches, and when I hear people that are out there like Dave Savigny or whoever else, like Ben Stoger, anyone else, or Eric, I'm always like, man, is my pace good enough? Is this good enough? And then I just always reach down deep inside and I go, you know what? It's freaking good enough, dude. If it's not, you need to have practiced that a while back and not try to change it now. And hopefully, just stick with it. And normally you get kind of like a decent result, like you said. You kind of, at the end, you surprise yourself.
I have a question from Facebook. Mike England says, I just moved to open from limited, and I'm looking for a good training DVD or book. Everything out now seems to be geared towards production. Do you have any recommendations for a new open shooter?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know if there's a video on that or a book. Man, that's tough. I would just tell him, really, gosh, shooting open is about being able to point that gun on target and minimizing the time of searching for things and lining things up, right? So I would just tell him, man, dry fire a lot, and you don't need the videos. Figure it out yourself. That's a tough question because you're absolutely right. Everything's based on production, iron sights, double action, single action, and all that stuff. So it makes it really, really hard to kind of develop your own thing with the open. I guess you could pick up any DVD out there and just do it faster.
Are there any drills specific to open with? I don't shoot open, so I don't know. I have iron sights, but that he can start to transition from iron sights to having that one point of focus.
Well, I can't tell him what he'll do, but I'll tell you what I would do and what I do whenever I switch from open to limited or production back to open. I shoot the same drills. I focus on hits. I focus on the way I pull the trigger. I focus on the sight tracking ability, and where the sights and dot is going, the lift and how far it lifts, my timing, how fast I can shoot one shot on the next, what distance, how fast I can transition, how consistent the gun is performing in terms of the recoil and stuff like that, how much noise is bringing back to me and understanding what noise or what input is thrown at me, just those kind of things. So in terms of drills, I don't really shoot different drills. I'll literally go from production, grab it, shoot it, and then switch a different gun, shoot the same exact drill, just not consciously faster, but it happens faster because everything's so tricked out. Like my trigger's shorter, my sights are so much easier to pick up, 3 points versus 1 point, and all that stuff.
Where do you zero? What distance do you zero?
With the open gun, I zero at 20 yards. At 10 yards, I leave my gun about 3/4 to about a half an inch underneath where I'm aiming at, and at 20 yards, I'm normally pretty much dead on. I found out that those are more important shots back at 20 and 15 yards and 25 yards versus the ones at 10. So at 10, I can be an inch low and I'll be fine with it. But at 20 yards, if I'm an inch low and I'm aiming at a target where I'm hoping, I thought I was going to be hitting a partial target in the alpha zone, and then I end up in the no-shoot alpha area, which is not so good. That happens a lot.
There you go. Related to the open division here, SuperComp9 says, do you prefer slide-mounted optics or frame-mounted optics?
Slide-mounted. Oh, I'm sorry, frame-mounted. Oh, not slide.
Frame-mounted optics. A particular reason? Is it because it's not going to move as much, or it's going to...
To me, the less movement, the better. And most of the dots out there or scopes out there that are mounted onto this slide are a lot smaller field vision. So I like to be able to... It's actually kind of neat that I guess they're naming of it. I like to see more out there. So the see more is still my favorite scope. It's been a while. It's been about 3 years, so my information may be a little bit outdated. But if I had to go back to open right now, I'd go right back to see more frame mounted with its own individual scope mount.
Did you just get that, JJ? Was that just like a
kind of? I've talked about it before, but that
blown.
was the first time I used it in a sentence, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Brilliant.
All right, H. Kim posted another question in there. Kim was really looking forward to. He contacted me. He's like, dude, when are you gonna have JJ on the show? That helped me actually reach out to you again. And he's been posting questions a lot, so appreciate the questions. And Kim, for thanks for all the posts. He said from the Brandon Wright episode, he mentioned about your walkthrough being very malicious before you shoot a stage. What is your walkthrough like? Do you count your steps and such? So.
I believe I may have had a conversation with him like this, but it always gets distracted because he always asks very in-depth, detailed questions. But it's kind of weird, right? I talk about simplifying your game plan, right? But in reality, what's actually happening in my head is there's a lot of not calculations. I don't want to make myself sound like a scientist, but there's a lot of measurements going on in my head. But it happens naturally because I guess I've been doing it for so long. I don't know. But I'll go in there and I don't count steps, but I do know where my foot placement's going to be. That's why I do a lot of small starter steps. You can see me. It's almost like a measurement of some sort if I'm approaching a target because I move so aggressively and so almost like if I'm moving from one spot to the other spot, I'm going to move as fast as I can, like my life depended on it. So my foot positioning has to be is almost as important as pretty much aiming my gun because I could easily be out of position and have to kind of revert back or take an extra step back, which is going to cost me a second or half a second, and I've just lost basically all the advantages that I tried to do by moving fast. So in terms of my walkthrough, I keep it as simple as I can, but then right before I walk off the stage, so it clears it out for the shooters. I'm basically measuring every part of my step, or not measuring, but feeling. So by that night, when I go home at night, I can literally go over it in my head in terms of how many steps it's going to take. I can mimic it, imagine it, envision it, and so by tomorrow, I don't have to do it anymore. It's just kind of just like a review almost.
So obviously being on the stages the day before is a huge help to your game.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I always try to take the cheap way out, and I'm gonna go there the night, pulling in, 11 o'clock at night. I'll go to sleep and I'll hit the match in the morning, but I won't be there. I don't want to waste the extra hotel money or whatever, or take the extra day off from work to get there the morning before the match.
Hey, that's why we know people. Okay, that's the advantage. So I just need to mix you and like Morgan Allen. Because you'd be like, go fast, shoot guns and don't miss. And then Morgan's like, okay, the square root of this target, 5 steps past, and you're going to look through the sun at a 12 o'clock position and then reload right there. I'm like, got it.
I call Morgan the mad scientist because he does. It's not crazy like that, but it's almost like that. You know, like
Yeah.
he'll bring
He's got
stuff up.
notebooks. Let's just put it that way. He like puts glasses on and like flips open notebooks and he's like, all right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I was
he
on
does.
stage 1 and I was feeling the sun from the left.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
just
pretty nuts.
amazing.
It's
I know.
pretty
And then he
nuts.
wins. I'm just like,
He does-
okay.
Yeah, he does take a large like yellow notepad I seen him with, writing down things a day before. The dude's pretty, but hey, that's his game, and he's good at it. All right. Thanks for the live questions, guys. Jennifer, you had anything that popped in or anything that on social?
I don't think right now.
I did have one of we should have the TSM presents JJ Racaza. I want to go fast. So we're gonna make your DVD apparently. So that's it.
He does
We gotta
have
go
a
on
lot of.
production.
He does have a lot of stuff on YouTube because obviously I was looking into a lot of stuff before I had him on the show to think of questions and stuff that he already answered. And there is a lot of stuff available on YouTube. And I think there is a speed. I think someone else produced it. I think it's Speed Shooting with JJ Racaza or something like that. There's like another production company that I think I saw doing that.
Oh yeah, Paladin Press.
There it is. So there is something. I don't know if you can get it or how to get it, but there is something out there. And we'll probably put a link in the comments below or in the description below after the show if you're interested, and we figure out how you can get a hold of it. We can but like I said, there's a lot of stuff that students taking a JJ class have put up, maybe like 1 or 2 minute videos on really good stuff. Some of the stuff that he's talking about here, but if you really want to get into detailed stuff, you can search that up on YouTube. And JJ does have his own YouTube channel. Just type in his name, JJ Racaza, it'll pop up. No spaces. Yeah, well, no, you posted. You post some good stuff. You can always follow him on social media and stuff like that. He does on Instagram. He's got like these little snippets of him running a stage, and you can definitely pick up a lot of stuff. His website is also jjracaza.com.
That's so outdated too.
Yeah, I was realizing I was going through that. I'm like, yeah, he needs a little bit of work on this one, but yeah.
You know, that's what happens when you spread yourself thin. You take on like too many projects, and then you're like, yeah, I can do it all, and then there's only 24 hours in a day, and then you sit there going, I haven't seen that in over 2 years. I got to go revisit that. Oh my goodness.
There might be a few different sponsors here and there you might want to plug in, but you know.
That's true.
Yeah. But there you go. Some other ways you can get a hold of JJ if you're not already following him already. So we seen this video. I didn't know about this, but I obviously doing some pre-research, I guess. This 5.0 holster. So it's like appendix style concealed carry holster. You were doing some lightning quick draws from it and putting in the gun back in really quick. I was like, whoa, what's this about? So tell us a little bit more about this design and how you're involved with this.
Well, the long story short, a guy, an old man a long time ago came up to me and said, hey, I need your help. I designed something like this. I want you to kind of develop it. And from there, we started working on it, and we came up with this kind of ambidextrous holster. You can actually make it lefty or righty. It was designed the way it was designed. It's like a WWE belt. It sits right in front of your pelvic girdle, just under the waistline.
Oh.
Oh, good. Are we
Yeah,
okay?
you're back. Yeah, you're
All
back.
right. What do you call that? So it's below the joint, so you can bend down and all that stuff, and it's below the belt line, which is great. I liked what we started doing was it was designed for full concealment when you're wearing, I guess, dress shirts and pants and stuff like that. It doesn't work very well with jeans because jeans doesn't have very much movement. They're very thick and stuff like that in terms of fabric. But slacks, dress pants, and stuff like that works great. It was designed after I don't know if you guys have heard the Sparrows.
I never heard of it.
The Sparrow Assassins.
Yeah.
Okay.
A long time ago, they used to kind of draw this way. No one ever knew their concealment system. Maybe it was just like a piece of wood at that time they carved out, and they would literally draw from their pelvic region, get the gun out, a full-size 45, get the gun out, assassinate someone at close range, put it back before anyone noticed, and they'd be the first ones on scene. So that was kind of like the story behind that. And so we said, you know what? So if the bad guys were using it, why can't the good guys use it? And at the time, I was heavily involved with the DHS and started working with them. And so we were like, yeah, let's try to see if we can make this happen and come up with the holster for the Leos. And that's how it kind of came about. And it kind of took on it because it's very catchy. If you look at it in video, you're like, what the heck is going on here? This guy can draw it out. First shot's probably under a second, but in full concealment, and you would have never known that he had a gun on him, type thing. So it kind of caught fire until I kind of just decided I was done with it. It was just too much of a project to kind of take on, and someone kind of is taking over now. They still using my name. I'm still, they still use me as a consulting part of it, but other than that, it's someone's taken over already.
Okay. Yeah, but it is. I mean, if you're one of those people who have an office job, or you're wearing a suit and tie and business attire, Monday through Friday, there's not very many holsters, very few that you can do very comfortably with that type of attire on, and this is lightning. I mean, obviously with some practice, but JJ was doing it. He was going really fast from, and I was like, what was going on from how it's designed. So very interesting design. I know a lot of people can probably use that if you guys are, at the desk job type of style thing. You might want to look into it.
And actually surprisingly comfortable.
There you go. It's called the 5.0 holster. So I don't know where you can find it, but we'll get a link in the description box. I'm sure if you do a Google search, you'll find it, and if that's something you're interested in. Okay, so Jennifer, what do you have as far as we can always ask Jennifer this stuff because it's always hard for the ladies. Concealment-wise, did you find anything that really, really works for you? It's a little bit harder for ladies, obviously.
It is hard. One of the guys at SRA actually is making holsters, and right now what I'm wearing is in the waistband. Every time I put something in the waistband, the clip on the outside makes it bulge too much. So I love this with the clips on the side because it's really pretty flat. So that's what I'm concealing with now. But it is very hard, and I still have to kind of pick what I wear. I've tried a couple of different things, and I don't know. Occasionally I still wear the flashbang when I'm wearing a dress and I don't have anything on my waist. I have no choice but to go there. So,
Flashbang holster.
You men don't have that problem because y'all don't wear dresses, but
no.
Not too often.
Not in public anyway, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah. That was a Glock 19 there, or a 17? That looks like a pretty big...
43.
Oh, was it 43? Geez, it looked bigger on camera.
Yeah.
Not bad. You got your hands on one of those? I still gotta find one of those, man. I guess I'm not looking very hard.
You gotta have connections.
Yeah, I'm not well connected, I guess. I can't find a Caracal. I can't find a stock 2. I can't find a 43. Someone help me.
It's all over.
But you can find a high point.
Oh, yeah. We can find many of those. I've owned one of those at one point. We told that story before. I never shot it, though. But whatever. I kind of wish I still had it for some reason so I can laugh at myself for buying it at one point. Whatever.
It's worth a lot of money now.
Yeah. No, I guess it was more of the value. Like, dude, who talked you into this? Yeah. There's no High Point sponsorship going to happen here anytime soon, I guess, for me to bash in that High Point. But, yeah.
How would that sponsorship go? Could you have... Here's 29 guns. Have a good season. That's pretty much... Yeah. A whole crate of guns shows up. You're like, what am I going to do with this? You can just mill it down. You can turn it into the Salient. Put $3,000 into it and turn it into a...
Yeah, put an EOTech on it.
$3,000 and what are they, like $175? In 5 years of firearms retail, I've never sold a High Point, and I'm pretty proud about that.
Really? That's not bad there.
Yeah.
I got talked into it. That's how I bought it.
Go away, save up like one more paycheck, come and see me, and we'll get something better.
Yeah, there we go. Here's a live comment that came in earlier from Craig Outson, 3-gunner here. We had him on the show previously. Not sure which one it is, but one of our more recent shows. He said JJ is damn near as nice as Max Michel. So your take on that, JJ? Are you as nice as Max Michel, or? I don't know.
Max is probably one of the nicest guys in the world. So he's got no mean bone in his body. He's one of my good friends, and I know it hurts him to make fun of people. Does that make sense? It hurts him to make fun of me, even though I'm making fun of him, constantly. And if you follow us on Instagram, we're constantly. Oh gosh, he gets hit up a lot, and the poor guy just goes, "Oh, that's so funny. Thank you for commenting." It's like, how do you And I just feel bad, and I just delete my comment and report myself as inappropriate.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple shows I seen him like mic or get like a D zone hit, and even though you can see he's kind of want to be pissed off about it, but he still like has a smile on it. He's not really as aggravated looking, you know. He's just kind of like, ugh, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's like, dang.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's not really a lot of anger behind him being mad.
That's when the cameras are on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that was which one was it? Hot Shots. I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on Hot Shots. Yeah.
It could be off the camera.
I can tell you this.
I've never seen it though. The dude's a
Don't
nice
let
guy.
that fool you. That boy is a fierce competitor.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll get quiet and angry and turn on that max mode when he needs to. I've seen that plenty of times.
The max mode. All right. There it is. We're gonna move. Let's move on to the lightning round. Quick, yes or no, one or the other type of questions here. And we have 9 or 45. So practical competition. What are you choosing?
I like the 9s. Prefer the 9s right now due to the technology. With the development of it, it just makes sense for me.
Yeah, I agree there. If you can only load your ammo on one press, is it the Lee or the RCBS?
RCBS.
RCBS, man, that's 3 times in a row, 3 weeks in a row. RCBS gets it over the Lee. Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris get into a street fight in their prime. Who do you have winning?
Bro, I'm Asian. Bruce Lee, come on.
We had Muneki on here, and he says he didn't like Bruce Lee. So
okay,
weird.
He just got traded.
Yeah, he got traded. Weird. It was weird. I'm like, really, dude? You don't like Bruce Lee? The dude talks. But all right.
You said Jackie Chan or Chuck Norris for him. That might have made sense. I'm kidding.
Jackie Chan or Jet Li or something. I don't know. We asked. Let's see. We direct impingement. So a little bit of AR stuff here. Direct impingement or piston-driven ARs.
I shot piston-driven, so I like piston-drivens.
You like piston?
For some reason, yeah.
Good stuff. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Nice. You're gonna win. That reminds me, I need to do.
Look at this big ass tablet I got. Shazamo.
Look what just happened to mine. Just about an hour ago. So.
That's why you have a life-proof case.
That looks like an older model iPhone, so now you have an excuse to upgrade.
I can get the S6 active.
The 6 doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't. It's just a bigger iPhone 5, so I refuse to.
Man, I'm telling
you.
No,
it's the Galaxy, Samsung.
I've heard they're nice.
I'm digging it.
And you can put it in water, and it doesn't do anything.
I can put this in water too. Just can't turn it on the next day.
Yeah. Then I just gotta put it in rice for like 3 days, and then be like, "Please, baby Jesus, don't delete all my stuff."
Was that an Asian joke? Put it on rice.
I think he was referencing. Yeah, put it on rice. All right, so the iPhone wins the battle here as usual. That's great. Yeah, but if I ever crack my noodles, yeah, you can put it in noodles too. The ramen noodles.
Wait, serious question. Yeah, I was gonna say serious question. Ramen, would that absorb? No. Where's Bill Nye when we need him?
I don't know. All right, it's becoming not so lightning on the iPhone question here. Let's see. We have zombies outside your front door. There, are you choosing a rifle, pistol, or shotgun to do the job?
You mean right outside the door?
Yeah, right now.
If
you had all 3 options in front of you, which one would you pick up?
It would be the rifle, because I feel like the shotgun would do too much damage, and they'd be able to blast through the door.
There you go. Interesting take on that. So you got the rifle wins that. Striker fire or hammer fire? We talked about this a little bit earlier, but they each have their application. But what are you going with in the lightning round?
For self-defense, striker fire. For competition, hammer fire.
Interesting.
Or
nice.
hammer, yeah.
Nice. Chevy or Ford?
Ford.
Ford, agree.
Pepsi
or Coke?
Coke.
In-N-Out Burger or Five Guys, and that'll do it.
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out. Agree.
There we go. Boom. I knew you liked it.
He said all the right answers. The ones that I agree with.
You made Anthony happy because
it was like a 100%.
Yes, there is a right and wrong answers on the lightning round. You're like, no, you failed.
He's tallying up in his head the whole time y'all are answering,
All right.
And the points don't matter.
You
Yeah, the
guys,
points don't
you
matter.
guys have seen that Chevy versus Ford commercial, right?
Which, no, I don't think it was official commercial.
No, it's the mockery. It's this
I,
redneck-ish guy
The
who's
the
driving
Chevy Silverado,
I've
the
seen it.
Silverado.
I've seen it
Yeah, the
today.
Silverado.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen it
Yeah,
earlier today.
and
But
ain't no Silverado.
there it is.
Too bad they have two of those.
All right. Unfortunately, we don't have a giveaway this week. Like the first time in 95 episodes, I didn't put one together. So unsub me now. There's no giveaway. Oh man. But we do have the announcement to the winners of last week's giveaway, which we had Ron Avery and Ken Nelson on. And they were doing, what were we doing? We were doing a class certificate to Tactical Performance Center. We had 2 snag mags. We had tack rack from Brandon Wright. We had a bunch of stuff in there. A tactical holster. The winners for those, we pulled 2 winners. Josh Harwitz and Ralph Elmore. And I know Ralph has watched a lot of episodes, and he's won the giveaways a couple times, I believe. So his name gets randomly drawn again. I guess it pays to enter every week. Ralph Elmore and Josh Harwitz, you guys are the winners. So if you're watching today, please send us a PM over on the Shooters Mindset Facebook page, and we'll organize the prize and we'll get them out to you. All right. So thanks for watching there. Any live?
I have one.
All right, go for it.
Another one from Mike Bell. He wants to know, JJ, which top shooter you like to compete against and who drives you to keep getting better?
Just one or a lot of them?
He said which one, so I guess the top one.
It would really be Eric. I've been chasing him for about 15 years, and he's the reason why I switched from open. In 2011, can I just, do I have a minute to tell a story, a sob story?
Yeah.
All right. 2011, I was the closest one to actually almost beating him at the World Shoot. I believe I led 4 days out of the 5 days, and I don't know. There were some things that happened. I made a mistake, and he kind of took advantage of it, and I lost. And I came in second. And so I told him, and I said, "Hey, man," I was like, "I finally got it. I finally figured it out. If I didn't make that one mistake, I think I would have been, the world champion at this time." So I was like, "I think I'm gonna chase you, and I got you the next time around." He's like, "No, you're not gonna get me." And I said, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Not in open." And I'm like, "Well, what does that mean, not in open? Are you switching guns?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to production." I was like, "In Florida." I said, "Well, I looked at my dad right there in Greece. I looked at my dad. I said, Dad, we're going production also." So obviously, there's a reason why I left open, even though it was already figured out the game. I was like, I'm going to refigure out and learn a new division just to chase my boy Eric. And so here we are, and just last year coming in first and second again. And I kind of finally walked up to him at the award ceremony. I said, "Hey, man, what division are you going to go to next?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Limited for the next World Shoot."
Oh man.
And I looked at him. I said, "I'm done, bro." I said, "I'm not chasing you anymore with another gun." And he goes, "Good, because I don't want to keep running. I don't want to make it seem like I'm running away from you, but I'm done with that also." He goes, "Let's work together." And that's how there's this game, there's this plan right now that I have to go back to open. Ben stays in production, and Eric goes in limited for the next World Shoot.
Nice.
So.
And you guys are all affiliated with the same team, I believe. So
Yes,
that'll
sir.
be fun. So you guys are all going to kind of like try to dominate each division this time instead
Yeah,
of
dude,
everybody. Like it was like everybody would have stuck to one production at World Shoot. Even Maria just dominated. It was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's the gun to use. But obviously there's a lot of training involved. Maria has been awesome. We had her on the show too. If you guys have missed that one, you go back and search up Maria, and we did an episode with her. It was great. So I don't know how she gets that good in the country that really doesn't allow her to have a live stock 2 in her apartment. So she must do a lot of airsoft training in herself. So she beats a lot of the dudes.
She's the only female that's won an overall level 3 championship.
Yeah.
Outright.
So, beat everybody.
Yep.
The Southeast Asia one, I believe it was.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
Yeah, wasn't there for that one. Dustin, I think you had one you wanted to hit regarding Shirts.
No,
Okay. I'm not reading fast enough here. All right. What we're gonna do is we can jump into the discount corner real quick, and then we got a few more questions here, and then we can kind of round it up here. So if you guys got any Q&A, I believe I have some in the queue right now. Be sure to get them in. All right, so discount corner, quick. I'll let Jennifer get this last one here. I don't know if she has any more else to add, but I'll let her get that one. TacticalLife.net, TSM10. TSM10 saves you 10% off T-shirts, grips, and stickers, so go check out TacticalLife.net. Fort Mill Munitions, we talked about earlier, teamfmm.com for your handgun ammunition needs. Use TSM5, that'll save you 5% off any of your ammunition purchases. Dewey rods, you need the best cleaning rods for your firearms, whether you're a long-range shooter or just a pistol shooter. They have it all at DeweyRods.com. That's Cruise Rod 10. That's CRUZ Rod 10. Saves you 10% off on anything over at DeweyRods.com. Yeah, Rod 10. All right. Standard Deviation Arms. They have a lot of variety of pistol accessories and shooting accessories, bullets. Check them out. That's standarddeviationarms.com. TSM5 saves you 5% off anything over on their website, so go check them out. Terran Tactical Innovations. TSM10 is the promo code at checkout. That'll save you 10% off base pads, springs, magazines, fire gunsmithing work for your Glock or ARs or shotguns.
And he's frozen.
Oh no. So go and did he come back?
Did I go out?
You disappeared. You
yep, now you're back.
I heard the audio go back, but UM Tactical, that's TSM10, saves you 10% off at umtactical.com. And then Jennifer, you're up.
Samson Manufacturing, TSM10 gives you 10% off of their websites. Woohoo!
Yeah, they have all the mounts, optic mounts, all your mounting and accessory needs, handrails for your ARs. Go check them out. Dustin, you got anything?
Yeah, actually, S3F's running some deals on their websites. Go check out Chris Naganuma. You can tell him what's a Naganuma, and he'll give you some deals on his new BCGs. As always, Black Nitride, the world. You can ask them for the Dustin the deal, and they'll hook you up. Comtech holsters out there, you can get a deal on that. Also, I know if you head over to the X Products page, they're going to be doing some deals for their new Viper rails, which are pretty sick. So if you ever checked out kind of the BCM and kind of the Fortis rail, it's kind of the love child between that. So it's just all kinds of goodness. They're going to be doing some deals over there. So hit them up. And I'll have all those probably on my page in the next week or so.
Boom, there you go. We got a Q&A piling up here. This one here is from Joel Anderson. Joel, so you will be shooting the Tank Folio open gun next. If so, is it 38 Super Comp or non-major?
38 Super Comp, sir.
38 Super Comp for Joel. There you go. Good, thanks for the question. Punisher 11. Let me see. I gotta kind of scan these before I see them. So this is Punisher for 11. Casey, Max, Eric. How are Casey, Max, and Eric like during matches? Are they laser focused or do they mess around too? Thank you.
I believe if you put me and Casey in a squad, Eric and Max becomes a comedian as well. But if you leave them two alone, Max and Eric have such a weird dynamic that it's almost like they barely have any smile or laughs. They barely have a conversation with each other. But me and Casey are like the bridge to those two, and it's a riot once we're all together.
Very nice. And the last one here in my Q&A queue from Kim again. When shooting iron sight gun in competition, what distance do you shoot target focus, and what distance do you shoot sight focused?
I don't like to say never, but it's very rare that I'll look at the target and throw rounds at it. It has to be almost 2-3 yards. Anything past that, I have to see some sort of a sight picture, and it's just basically whether it's good enough at 5 yards or good enough at 15. So I try to avoid target focus, but I do understand if it's target at 3 yards and in, absolutely, I'm just gonna point and pull and watch my hits go down. But and that's how it was with open also. It didn't never change whether just point shooting or just looking through the scope. So kind of just always sight focused, I guess, for me.
Boom. We have a question regarding some 3-gun stuff. What do you got?
Yeah, I had a few people ask about JJ. Are you gonna touch any 3-gun?
I've dabbled the idea for a while, but I'm still very busy with the pistol side. I still have a couple of goals that I'd like to accomplish. Just going myself into 3-gun or putting myself into 3-gun right now, it'll just be a completely mess. I'll just be an absolute mess. I'd have to learn shotgun reload. I mean, some of these guys, I've watched videos of some of these guys, Keith Garcia, Tommy Thacker, Jerry Mikulik, even John McClane, and some of these guys just ridiculous in terms of their reload. Jesse Tischauer.
Hey, you can just shoot open. Just shoot open and have an X-rail and just don't reload.
Yeah, but that's not. Well, the problem is it's not where competition is at, right? So you gotta. If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna want to go where everyone is at, I guess.
You can learn it though. I mean, quad loading is really easy to learn. The learning curve, yes, it's very easy. It's a lot easier than the old way. The weekend, where you put the 4 in and you chunk them in one at a time. Like like I learned it. I think in one night I got to where I could do it, semi slowly, and then you just speed up. I mean.
All right, I'm gonna put up a YouTube video, Jen, and if it takes me more than a week to learn it.
Start with deuces.
You can do it.
You can drop deuces probably with your eyes closed right now. Just
you can do it. Bam. I have videos of me on there. I was like determined because somebody told me that I needed to stick to dual loading because I'm a girl and I have small hands. That didn't.
You'd be like, oh no.
Did he just say you're a girl and you can only do that?
That'd be fine. Yeah, I'm gonna be quad loading next match, and the next match I did, and it's really not that hard. You just got to learn, where to put your hands, and just do it slow a few times, learn it, and then you just speed it up, speed it up, speed it up.
Boom.
But don't use the really heavy shells because when you drop them on your toe, it really hurts.
They mean dry firing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The little dummy shells that are like the snap caps.
Yeah.
The
like metal. Yeah, I had those at first because that's all I could find, and I was practicing with them. And I have a video on my Facebook page where I'm practicing, and I number one bit my thumb, which hurt, and then I dropped it on my toe, so my thumb and my toe are hurting, and I'm hopping around. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna post that because I look like an idiot. Might as well.
Yeah. Hey, we look forward to that video challenge here. Let's see. I mean, I think he can do it.
In terms of 3-gun, hopefully.
A week is almost too much. We should have been like 2 days or something.
Yeah, you can learn it in 2 days, JJ. I want to see video.
Oh, man. I got to get the rig first, right? I don't even have a shotgun. I have an old 870 that I've been trying to do quad loads for.
Hey,
it doesn't work.
Then go watch Pat Kelly, man. That guy can run the pump like a champ.
Mm-hmm.
I can shoot it fast. It's just reloading it. Takes me about a minute to load 4 shells.
You can get that down.
Yeah.
I will see.
You're Mr. Speedy Fast. You can do it.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit here. We got eating habits. Before a major match, let's take the World Shoot, for example. Did you change your eating regimen? Was it any different there? And during match, do you kind of eat this big match lunch midday, or do you snack throughout the match?
I don't change my eating habits. I eat the way I want to eat. I feed it if it's hungry, and I eat really bad. But I work out so I can eat whatever I want. So really, I don't change. The only thing I try to avoid or try to maintain is a balance throughout the day. I don't want to have any kind of spikes. I don't want to have a ton of sugar during the match. So I'll have that up and down feeling. What I like to do is kind of just really, this is recent. This is within the last 2-3 years when I actually got into like the whole serious fitness and dieting and all that stuff because it's because of CrossFit, but whatever. Started doing like the nuts throughout the day, just little meals throughout the day, the bars instead. Before I used to eat a full meal in the match, and I did that for 12 years. In the last 3 years, I just kind of decided I'm gonna be a little smarter about it and pay attention to my body. Everyone gets old, and I feel like my heart's slowing down a little bit.
So you're now taking a healthier approach, eating these cereal bars and stuff like that throughout the match, and some carrots.
Yes, but no, I don't eat vegetables. No, screw that. I'll eat a burger if I have to. If I'm hungry. Like last match, Idaho, it was a full all-day affair. We shot 14 stages. So in the middle of the match, I shot a full-on cheesesteak. I didn't eat as much fries, but a full-on cheesesteak was great, and we had an hour and a half to kind of download, and I just kind of cooled off, and I actually needed the energy, and within an hour of eating that meal, I was actually hungry again, so I, started popping my, what do you call that, trail mix and protein bars throughout the rest of the day.
I thought you were gonna say like Monster and like 5 Hour.
No, I try to I avoid energy drinks though. I do avoid that. I drink Mio Energy, Berry Acai. It's got like some B12 on it, but I drink very small portions of it. I don't want to have any. Like I told you, I'll try to avoid any spikes. I feel like it's kind of there's a benefit to it. I can't really tell you if it's tangible or not. It's just there's something to it where I just feel good the whole entire day. I feel like I just woke up in the morning.
We got some live ones.
Yeah,
Right.
we got one on Facebook. Tom Carlson has a good question. He said, how do you prepare or handle a reshoot, as I tend to make mistakes or push more, which isn't working?
I think reshoots is I believe this is how I've always because I've always loved reshoots. If I get a reshoot, I have a very high percentage that I'll shoot it better than I did. But I believe I credit that to the practice sessions that I have. A lot of my practice sessions recently, especially within the last 6 years, I've changed it towards focusing more, being able to replicate what I just did prior to, and being able to do that and tap into the 90%, the 95%, the 85%, whenever I want to. And this match, and for example, Area 1 match, I had there was a huge malfunction, but I shot it well. And it was a tough stage because there was a lot of moving, there was a lot of timing stages and stuff like that. But I wasn't, being that I was able to see it already, I knew what I had to do. And it was one of those where I was kind of happy that I practiced the way I practiced because I can perform or repeat my performance, what I just did and what I just saw. And actually sometimes I could even do it a little better because I saw where my hits were and I go, all right, I saw my sights. I thought that was good enough. That was an Alpha Charlie. I can drop it back down to a 2 Alpha. So not to jinx myself, but knock on wood, I love reshoots. But in terms of being able to perform better, don't try to do it better. Don't try to go out there going, I have to do better. No, do like I told Dustin earlier. Don't change what you normally do. You don't do exploratory stuff at the match because you're being tested. You don't have a chance to redo it all over again. You do what you normally do. You do what you're comfortable. You do what's familiar to you, which is basically a good side picture and trigger press. And as long as you focus on that, everything kind of falls into place. A lot of people like to push because I got my second chance and this is like a new lifeline. I'm gonna let's see if I can do a little better or a little faster. You can move faster, but as long as you can delineate the difference between your movement versus your shooting, you'll be totally fine. As long as you focus on your shooting and just keeping it simple, that's it. But in terms of shooting faster, I would totally go against that, I guess.
Would you change any of your game plan for that stage, for that reshoot? Like you shot it, and you're like, man, I burned this one section down. This one array was awesome. This one array I almost fell down on my face on, and then the last half of it I did good. So would you try to gear it different or shoot it possibly different, or would you just try to keep everything the same?
If I have enough time, yeah, I would absolutely change it if it's for the better, if it's for a benefit. Especially I had a full live run on it. Why not?
Cool.
Yeah. Kind of talk about matches. Going back to that, you just said you shot a full stage match. Usually your local state blah 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 area championships. Sometimes those will be just 1-day formats. What do you like? If you could pick, do you like single-day formats? Let's shoot 10, 15 stages in a row all day, or do you like the 2-stage or 2-day formats? Half in the morning and then the second day, half in the evening, and you get to choose.
I enjoy the world shoot. I like the multi-day format a lot. Preference in terms of performance, right? I've always liked the longer matches. I feel like my fitness kind of plays a role where some people start to fade out the third and fourth day. I feel like I'm still very, very fresh. There's nothing sore. I feel like I'm still, just coming into the match. In terms of feasibility and budget and all that stuff, in terms of sponsorships, I like the 1-day matches because I can get in and get out and see my family and spend more time with them versus being away with them. Because right now it's hard to travel with a 2-3-month-old and a 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old baby. So I'd rather just get in the match, shoot it, and come back home and see them and play with them at home, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the difference between a practice versus a local, just your local down the road match versus a state match versus a national match. it seems like it's almost a sprint to then a marathon, and that's where I see a lot of first timers or guys who might shoot, only one or two national matches a year. That's where they burn out at national matches. And, they're maybe top 5 in state match, but then, and local matches, they're winning, but then they go to a national match and they're, mid-pack, if that.
For sure. Yeah, I bet that's frustrating, too. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You're so used to winning or being a top 5, and then you see yourself go down like that.
That's not what I mean. That's not what I meant at all. That's not what I meant at all.
There you go. We had one more question, and then I think we can kind of wrap this one up. No? Good?
Dustin had it.
That was it. That was
it?
the 2 stages, the formats.
Right
That's the
on.
question I got.
All right, we had this one here. How can shooting sports become more mainstream? What are your thoughts on this, JJ?
Tough question, man. We've been wanting it to be more mainstream. Obviously, get more coverage, right? But to get more coverage, you need more money in it. To get more money in it, you need interest in it. So I would leave you need people like Jen. You need people that are easy on the eyes. More females to come in, like Jessie Duff. You need these people so people can relate to them. Really, females like a big driving force right now in the juniors, but it's really hard, man. It's such a controversial sport that we are in, the gun industry. It's such a small but loud industry, so I'm the wrong person to ask. I would love to go mainstream, possibly maybe the steel. I've always thought steel would take off because it's easy to watch. You put a camera on there, people can automatically respond. There's an immediate feedback whether the guy hit the target or not, and then there's a time right there, right? But it just hasn't. And I've always wondered why not.
Yeah, every time.
I think the only thing that went,
go for it.
the mainstream was, the 3 Gun Nation, and they just put out a video of all the ladies. That was kind of a cool trailer, a little sneak peek kind of thing. That was kind of the main thing. I guess we've had, what you were on, and actually that your season was pretty much my buddy season between Sereno and
Ian.
Yeah, Ian, Chris, Caleb. All of those dudes. So, Blake and you, I was just like, I don't care who wins, man. Everybody's awesome, so we're good to go. So, and then everybody coming back and shooting, that last season with the All-Stars and stuff, I was texting Sereno and, just making fun of him as he was doing stupid stuff and calling him a bridesmaid and never a bride kind of thing. So.
Right. I mean, look, you can see History Channel tried it, right, and tried to put the shooting thing on mainstream, and they actually did all right. Like our season was the most successful series that History Channel has ever put out. But then quickly it died out because the followers couldn't relate to the shooters. It was boring to watch if you didn't know or couldn't relate or cheer for anyone. So it was very tough. As much as drama as they put on it, or what have you, it was just hard to follow because again, it was just shooting guns.
Yeah.
Got to be some pizzazz to it. I don't know, some hot female to come in it. I don't know. Maybe the females need to wear bikini. I don't know. I'm sure that'll start attracting attention.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what mainstream is. A History Channel is a mainstream channel because you look at the 3 Gun Nation stuff. It's always an outdoor channel. Those channels you have to request them. They're not even. I don't have them.
What was on Fox? Didn't Fox Sports have something?
NBC Sports. Right.
NBC Sports, yeah.
Yeah, NBC Sports. Yeah, wasn't that Hot Shots? It wasn't. It was on that for a minute until all the shenanigans went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like every time it gets there, something goes down, and then it gets canceled or pulled, and then they have to move networks and stuff like that. So that's why it's like JJ mentioned earlier. It's such a controversial game. No matter how you slice it, whether it's just a gunsmithing show or a competitive shooting show, either or it gets it the same way in the end. So
they're scared.
That's
the big networks are scared.
Someone just needs to take a risk. Like someone took a risk on UFC, right? They put a lot of money into it, and then look at them now. They're mainstream. It's well accepted all over the world.
Yep.
But yet, just 10 years ago, they were completely controversial.
Yep, that's true. And it was, it was very hard to view those fights. They weren't very, they weren't on major TV networks at the time either. So even though the sport was is highly, it's more I don't know. That's another controversial, debate that you can have. I mean, because you watch blood splatter all over the mat in UFC, and some people, I guess, think it's more TV suitable than someone shooting a gun, a bullet at steel. I don't know. There's, you got those weird folks out there.
And
So,
it's definitely niche market. It's definitely we're a little community. So it's getting the Monsters, it's getting the Coca-Cola, getting Walmart, it's getting the other brands out there, not just Samson and 511 and everybody and their brother. We can all sponsor it. Every company in the world, Springfield Armory, Glock, Smith & Wesson, everybody can throw money at it. That's great. It's just us sitting around in a circle watching us. It's
Right.
getting the teenagers. It's getting the mom and dad who just came home, turning on the TV. Oh, hey, look, it's Steel Challenge brought to you by Red Bull or something. That kind of thing, which they would never do it because
Red Bull might.
I don't know, man. Back in the day, I played paintball, and they would not sponsor a paintball team due to the fact that you used paintball guns when they were actually called
Really?
markers. Yeah. So that's what I said, like maybe like Monster or like 5 Hour Energy or something like that. Maybe Coca-Cola, I don't know. Sonic.
yeah.
I do love me some lemon berry slushes.
There you go. Well
Is that a
plugged.
sponsorship? Did I just get a sponsorship?
yeah. Every traveling to every time you travel to a match, you get free stop at Sonic. Not
Boom.
bad thing to work out. All
It's
right,
on video. It's on the internet.
There it
That
is.
means it's real.
Yep.
Let me say this. There's something to it, right? You can connect yourself to an airline, for example. If airline has these programs where they have certain pilots that are armed, and some of the competitive shooters can definitely help out the techniques and help them show them, like what Mike Voigt's doing, like what Rob Latham's doing, teaching some of these guys in the unit in the SF community. They're the ones that they're being hired because they're good. They're obviously who they are because. Or where they are because of what they've done in the shooting world, and they're so the competition world, even though it's so small, we're loud because we are the ones that kind of pushes the threshold for products and stuff like that, and we evolutionize. It kind of starts out with us, and it goes through the military, and then it goes back to the Leo community, and then the civilians kind of get it and stuff like that. So that's why I feel like there's something to it in the long run, and someone just kind of has to find a way. And I'm not the genius one here to be able to make that connection. So I don't know. Hopefully one day we can all be like, man, celebrating hosting on NBC Sports again, or NBC in general, shooting a match or something.
Yeah.
Boom. There we go.
Maybe Fox Sports 1.
There you go, FS1. Yes.
Let's try to shoot for that.
Yes.
Maybe the ESPN Ocho.
Fortes.
Yeah. Joel Anderson asks his take on dry fire training. Joel, we talked about that a lot earlier in the show, so just go retract, hit the rewind button, and we talk a lot about dry fire training. So that's all I have as far as Q&A. I have one more on my list. We'll hit that, and then we'll hit some last minute Q&As, and then we'll wrap it up here. You travel pretty often training shooters. What is the most common area you find most shooters can improve upon?
Trigger control.
Trigger control. There you go.
Trigger manipulation. A lot of people are very inefficient. They understand it, but they don't really know the correct application of it. It's a very minute, but yet advanced. I hate to say advanced, but advanced skill set, I guess, for a lack of a better term, to develop and feel and understand what is actually happening within that small movement.
There you go. All right, last minute questions. Jen, Dustin, I think you have a couple.
Somebody that came in late, John Crispy, said he just got home from work and logged in and was watching the show, and he wants to know if you have any drills for improving footwork. We talked earlier about how your footwork is so good. He wants to know how to be you.
Well, I do a lot of ladder drills. I used to when I was trying to develop my footwork. The ladder drills where you don't have to buy the ladder. I actually bought a ladder, or someone bought me a ladder for my birthday. But I started out with just drawing it out on the floor with chalks and stuff like that, and it looked like I was playing hopscotch out there by myself as a grown 22-year-old
That's what you were really doing. Let's be honest with ourselves. All right.
You
I
just
did it
told people
faster.
that when the neighbors complained about you hopscotching and they put it
Yeah,
out
just
there.
tell my daughter. I'm just gonna tell my daughter. I'm just like, yeah, draw the hopscotch. Yeah, Daddy needs to do some dry fire drills. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, got it. Pop, 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 pop.
I never did it with a gun though. I always just kind of focused on footwork, just kind of moving as fast as I could, and then doing a lot of Olympic lifting recently has really helped out my explosiveness. Like my dad noticed a difference. I haven't seen him for 6 months, or he hasn't seen me shoot for 6 months, and all of a sudden I did heavy hits on Olympic lifting, all that for that 6 months in winter, and then by the time I get back for my first practice session with him in the first match, he was blown away. He's like, "What the heck have you been doing throughout the winter?" And this was when I was living in Jersey. I was like, a lot of lifting and legs. He's like, "Man," he goes, he goes, moving a lot better. And that was just last year before the World Shoot. So as soon as he said that, I'm like, my dad never really compliments me. He's normally charging and giving me a hard time. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep doing whatever I'm doing now and stick with that and see where it goes.
Yeah, the ladder drill you were talking about is like related to what football players usually do, right? Stepping in and out and doing the whole footwork in the ladder drill. So there's a lot of stuff, man. I should probably, if I could spare the time, man, that'll be something I think we all can work on there.
If you do about 15, 20 minutes of drill work on that every day, you'll notice the difference in speed. You can clock yourself the first time you did it, because I used to just clock myself, and it was kind of because I was the only one doing it, and you can start shaving half seconds here, half seconds there, and then you can, without even thinking, when you're running through a match, you'll implement something that you did with the ladder drill, and you automatically will be like, wow, I was blown away. Now I got to shoot and focus, whatever, instead of focusing on enjoying yourself. That didn't come out right.
Anyway, but we do get it. We're gonna look into some ladder drills there. It's a good, yeah, it didn't come out too great, but now that I really started to think about
you just kind of
screw it. Just do some ladder drills and don't enjoy yourself out there anymore. Just let's do that.
Playing hopscotch and enjoying yourself.
Pro tip.
And just go fast.
Of the show, if you haven't
do it real fast.
There you go. All right, I think we can wrap this one up. Let's bring it down to shout-outs here. This was a very fun show. Dustin, we'll start off with you. What do you have?
All right, guys. As always, Springfield Armory Custom Shop, CompTech Holsters, GB2 Tactical, Ryan and guys over there. Dissident Arms for all your communist needs. I know we got to get those boys on here and show off all their cool stuff. They're just doing some crazy slides now. They're pretty sick. BBI Bullets, Black Bullets International. H&M, Black Nitride the World, RCA, always coming out with some crazy stuff. Pro Ears, X Products, they just came out with some awesome new rails, some stocks. If you got your little tax stamp and doing SBR, I got that rolling, so I'm going to have one of them stocks. Red Roof Inn, Greg Skaz Photography, he does some awesome photos. He did some cool photos coming up. S3F Solutions, call up Chris, tell him you need some goodies. Tell him I sent you, and he'll hook you up. And Tula Ammo. Oh, I am doing that giveaway on my Facebook page, and I'm just lazy, and I haven't posted it up, so hang on with me, because we're going to do some awesome stuff. So I'm kind of dragging my feet to add packages and stuff to it. So check out the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, maybe? Yeah, I think I'm doing that, too.
You don't even know.
I don't know. I just got things on my phone. I just push buttons.
Yeah. All right, John, what do you have?
Savannah River Armory, great rifles. Check them out. They got some new things coming up soon, so stay posted for that. Load up ammunition for all your ammunition needs, rifle and pistol. Shooters of Augusta and Sharpshooters of Augusta. I'm going there tomorrow to shoot some steel. Be there in the morning, bright and early. Samson Manufacturing, just got some great flip-up sights I need to put on my rifle and try them out. Lucas Oil. Love this stuff right here. So wonderful. Keeps my guns running. I've had no problems with it since, seriously, I love this stuff. It's really, really good. Haven't had any problems since I started using it. And tacticallife.net, that keeps everybody from honking at me because I have AR-15s on the back of my car.
Tacticallife.net offers a ton of, why don't we always talk about these stickers like every show? They have tons of AR stuff, and they're pretty much like an open market. Just go there and shop with what you need. JJ, what do you have as far as shout-outs, man?
I want to shout out my sponsors, obviously, Tanfoglio, EAA. Breakthrough. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. Breakthrough cleaning. I hate cleaning guns, but whenever I have to clean it, that makes it real easy and breaks down through carbon. Anything. In terms of lubricants and all that stuff too. Hearing protection, True Tone Hearing, they're one of the best compression hearing rollers. The ones that I use that you can barely see. ROs are constantly yelling at me to put on protective ears, and I already have them, and I can actually hear them very well. Reebok, in terms of shoes and clothing, you gotta give them some love and stuff like that. Oh, and my new company, Nevada Arms, Magna Sports. Got to give them some love. We're forming a competition storefront here in Vegas, and we'll be going online and live soon. We're just kind of very early stages of that right now.
Yeah, so we got to pay attention for that. We got to stand by that. Dude, you're sponsored by Reebok. Reebok, that's pretty awesome.
Not exactly.
Or you just really like their product.
That's
that's pretty good.
I get a lot of help.
Samsung and Sonic.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, dude, because we were talking about
JJ's just adding. He's like, what is this over here? I'm gonna add.
Because we were talking about how to mainstream, and you figured if Reebok's jumping on here, man, that's a good thing overall. So
they're
would be.
Put it that way. They're not fully sponsored, but they've been awesome. Ever since I jumped in the CrossFit scene. I mean, my shoes, my all-terrain shoes, my shirts, my shorts, and that's all I've been wearing. They've been phenomenal.
Boom, so go check out Reebok in your next.
They're taking over, too.
Yes, they are.
Gotta get that Manchester United new kit. What?
They got an open mindset, at least. They do enjoy shooting. Let's put it that way.
That's good to hear. That's very good to hear. All right, so on my end, I want to talk about the Shooter's Mindset app. Live in the iPhone store and the Apple store, and also in the Google Play Store, which is for Android devices. Let me pull it up right here. If you guys have not downloaded it, you would find this episode probably within like 20 minutes live on there. So boom, there it is. Look at that fancy app. Real easy to navigate. Go download it. Android, Apple. Dustin has it there. It just came out for Android recently, so there it is. Dang, that's a big phone, Dustin. Jeez, I thought my...
No, it's not a phone, it's my tablet. I got it for free.
You boys are all worried about size.
Hello.
I thought that was your phone. Them Android phones, boy, they put out a big device.
I hate to tell you, Anthony, but Dustin's is bigger.
Yeah, I was like, dude, my iPhone 6 Plus is big, but damn, Dustin. All right, let's not.
Just like, I was on the range today. It's not a big deal. I was talking to JJ, and he said to go fast. I don't know.
Boom. All right, so quick shout out to my end. Subscribe to the channel. Right below this video, you're going to see a subscribe button. Please sure to hit it every Wednesday at 9. We have a new episode and a new guest of the Shooter's Mindset, a new giveaway. So go check it out. Please subscribe. Email contact, theshootersmindset@gmail.com. You can contact me or any of us there through that. You can reach us all individually on our social media networks also. Big thanks to JJ, man. Thanks for coming on and spending 2 hours of your time with us, man. I really appreciate it.
I had a great time, guys. Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor.
Boom. Let's see. Rise Armament, Rainier Ballistics for your reloading projectile needs. Dewey Rods, Techwear USA for your jerseys. And they have tons of 1911 grips, magwells, a few things on there, so go check them out. Rand CLP, Carbon Arms, and Snag Mag for your concealment spare magazine needs. Check out snagmag.com. That'll do it. That'll wrap up episode 95 of The Shooter's Mindset. Jennifer, Dustin, thanks for helping me out with this, and we'll see you next Wednesday, guys. Thanks.
Bye.